everyone, and welcome to 2020, and welcome to the XP Billionaires podcast. We are back, just as promised, and we have got lots of fun stuff for you, as we usually do. This is Rafe Thagrum, and as usual, I am joined by Sky Knight and Irene Rogue. Sky, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Can't complain. Not sick like the rest of you.
That is
Just
true,
great.
and yeah, we'll figure something out about that at some point.
No, you will not.
Uh-huh. All right. Irene, how are you doing today?
I'm sick.
Yeah, me too. Thankfully mine's not in my voice, so yeah, hopefully we can get through this and not die trying. All right, let's stop talking about depressing stuff and let's regale everyone with our exploits during our small hiatus. So, so what did we all do over the holidays? What games did we play? How much fun did we have? I had a lot of fun. I spent most of my Christmas away from my main console, so all I had for me was my Switch, and I spent most of my time playing Disgaea 5 Complete. I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm not even halfway through the main story, and I already have a level 200 plus Prinny that can apparently cast Omega spells. This was one of the DLC Prinnies you got from the Complete Edition. It was built in, but I built all of that naturally. It was a Prinny with like all magic, and now he's a casting tank, and I love him.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, you have no idea. My dream is to play an entire Disgaea game doing what I call a Prinny run, where apart from situations where I'm required to use characters for throwing, I can only use Prinnies. Like that's my rule. So obviously I can't throw Prinnies for obvious reasons, but yeah, that's always just been the kind of thing I want to do. I tried doing it with Disgaea 4 at one point on console, but then I got distracted with other games. I think doing it on a Switch is going to be the way to go. So playing it with either this one or if I pick up the Disgaea 4 complete at some point, I was doing really well with it there, so I might do it that way. We'll see. It'll be one of those two games that I do it with. But yeah, let's yeah, Sky, what did you end up playing all through the holidays?
Well, I too was away and only had my Switch. Actually, I also had my Vita, but I ignored it. I I played a ton of Octopath Traveler. I'm over 40 hours in and I only started it like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
I am so obsessed. I know a lot of people are kind of lukewarm on the game. It's not for everybody. But when you're like me, obsessed with turn-based combat and don't need a save the world plot to keep you interested in a game, have at it. It's great fun.
My main issue with it was that the stories never actually came together. Like it didn't have to be save the world stakes. I would have really liked it if the relationships between the characters actually mattered. Which kind of it felt a little empty for me.
I don't think the game is about that really in the end. Like I think of Octopath Traveler more as if most RPGs are a novel, Octopath Traveler is a book of short stories.
Yeah, seeing short stories have never really been my bag.
Me not so much either, but I find the individual characters so endearing that I don't mind. And once you get in and actually see some of the travel banter and that sort of thing going on, I found that it didn't particularly bother me. And like I said, the combat just is so good that I eat it up. I eat it up. It's great.
Yeah, that was my main problem though, is that I really liked the characters. They were great individuals and it felt like a missed opportunity to not have them really come together as a party.
Yeah, that didn't bother me. That doesn't bother me at all.
I mean, that's fair. I'm really glad that you're enjoying it more than I did. I'm just saying that was for me was a bit of oh, well, that's a shame, you know?
Well, yeah, and I mean I think one of the things is too that, not all RPGs have to have the same sort of party dynamics. And you know what? They were trying to do something different, and I commend them for it. I'm a seeker of novelty a lot of the time, so
Yeah, I didn't. I'm not saying it was a terrible game. I'm just saying it was like, oh, these characters are really cool. I really would have liked to see them interact more
yeah.
and like become invested in each other a little bit more.
Did you play it through to the end, or?
I got most of the way through and just was like, okay, well, this isn't really doing it for me.
Yeah. I don't want to say too much because I'm not all the way through it yet. So I don't know what exactly they're going to do. To sort of finish off the game, but I actually don't mind the separate chapters format so much as I think it actually allows you to focus on each individual character and no one overshadows another. I think that's a little bit of a side benefit to the format. Now, it's not as organic, I would say, as having, everyone be present and speaking during the story chapters, but it did get me more invested in each individual character separately.
Yeah, I get that. I was like, cool. I have a party of 8 people who are all these brilliant and like clear individuals with like their own goals, their own interpretation, their own view on the world. And every time I hit a story chapter, they're all going to stand very silent and not have an opinion. I don't know. It challenged my suspension of disbelief a little bit.
Yeah, and that I can understand. It's one of those things about, reviewing games, talking about games, is that, while you can agree on some things objectively, how much it matters to you can be completely different from one person to the next. And this is a
Oh,
good example.
for sure. Like, I'm not saying the game was terrible. I actually enjoyed what I played of it. I just found that there were a few things that were sort of immersion breaking for me individually. But like other people didn't find that to be a problem, and I'm glad that they had those experiences. I'm glad you're having so much fun with Octopath Traveler when I was like, it's all right, you know?
Well, fair enough.
It's fun when people have fun with their toys.
Oh yeah.
So it says to me about something like Octopath Traveler. How is this not the game that would have so much fan fiction around it? Because there's so much open possibility by not having the characters interact with each other. People could come up with tons of different ways for them to interact.
I haven't looked, and I'm not going to look until I finish the game. So
All right, well, keep us posted on that because I'm actually a little curious. In the
actually,
meantime, oh,
I'm kind of writing a couple in my head, so
of course you are.
of course I am.
All right, Irene, what have you been playing over the Christmas?
A lot of Nier Automata and Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. So I started playing Nier shortly before the holiday break, and now that I'm traveling, I've been playing a lot of Bloodstained because I'm away from my PS4. But finally, on the third playthrough for Nier, wherein the game actually changes significantly, so I'm looking forward to getting back to that and playing a little bit more of it because the stakes between playthrough 1 and 2 are the same, whereas with playthrough 3, like everything changes and the stakes get a little bit more dire, I would say, very quickly out of the gate. So I'm interested to see where it goes. And Bloodstained, yeah, that's been my like travel game. It got my honorable mention last year for Game of the Year, and I'm not disappointed with it. It's a good game. It is a good game that is like a game that was, made complete and sold as a game. And there's no other like bells and whistles that came with it.
Yeah, and that can make all the difference in a lot of cases. Like, I like even like playing the Outer Worlds so far from what I've been playing of it. Like, yes, I've heard the news they're planning to do some DLC story for it in the future, but I mean they still, from what I can tell, have created a complete game that I'm really looking forward to getting through at some point.
Yeah,
It is
they
going to
made a
take me
game.
forever. Yeah.
They made a game and they sold the game and they didn't load it with like annoying slog and grind so that you would be tempted to spend more money to avoid it. Like, they made a complete product that is actually, fit for purpose.
Yeah, and I'm all for that. So yeah, but any complete game, absolutely. I do want to try Bloodstained at some point, but I've got a whole lot to look forward to this year. And that being said, why don't we just get into that at this point? Yeah, since our Game of the Year and Game of the Decade episodes was so jam-packed, we didn't have enough time to do what we did the year previous and talk about what we were all looking forward to in 2020. And it looks like 2020 is going to be a really good year for RPGs, video games in general as well. But RPGs 2019, 2020, we've got a lot to look forward to. So I thought it'd be a good idea to give us some time to talk about what we're looking forward to, give us a moment to gush. And yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm sure we could all guess one of Irene's games, but
No,
yeah.
no, you'll never guess. I'm gonna totally surprise everybody and say that I'm really looking forward to a tactics game coming out this year.
Oh, absolutely. Who wouldn't
Yeah.
be?
Uh-huh.
All
Yes,
right.
that is my entire point. Let's move on.
All right. In the meantime, we'll start with mine. So we're gonna start with games that we're looking forward to that have already have announced release dates. So for me, the biggest one right now is Dragon Ball Kakarot. At first, I didn't even know why I was so excited for this game as I am. Like, I know the story, I know I'm going to play the characters, and there have been other games in the past that have gone through the same stories over and over. I've even rewatched the series at one point just recently last year, and yet I'm still really excited for the feel of the combat and the side questy sandbox nature of the game as you progress. But now, what I've actually just learned just the other day prior to recording this, I realized that it's not just Bandai Namco developing the game. They've asked one of their subsidiary developers to do it, and that company is CyberConnect 2.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so CC Corp is involved in the making of Dragon Ball Kakarot. That makes me 10 times more excited for it than I ever thought I would be.
It's gonna be low key horror. Just watch.
Maybe, we'll see.
That seems to be their cup of tea. Like, Dot Hack was ostensibly an RPG. I would argue that it is also a low key horror game.
In some ways, yes, I can agree with that. However, they're basically redoing the entire Dragon Ball Z storyline, so I don't know how they're going to pull that off if that were the case.
Don't worry, there'll be like a pocket dimension where there are people with TVs for heads.
Maybe. Who knows?
I'd be okay with that, to be honest, because you could go there while they power up their power levels to 9,000 over 16 episodes.
Well, hopefully it doesn't take that long in my playthrough.
And
I hope not.
honestly, would people with TV heads really be that off-brand for Dragon Ball?
A
What is
little.
this brand for Dragon Ball? I don't even know.
I mean, I want to correct you, but then I remember Mr. Popo exists.
Yep.
And Majin Buu.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
you know
okay.
what? Boo's still around and he's still powerful, so, more power to the Pudgy.
Don't make me laugh, it hurts.
But I'm so good at it, apparently.
Oh, it hurts.
Okay. Well, then I will move on and we'll ask Sky what they're looking forward to that's already been announced.
Well, I have a trio of remasters. Or remakes, or whatever you want to call them. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, because duh. Tokyo Mirage Sessions, FE Encore. I missed it the first time, so yay, get to play it now. And Persona 5 Royal. So, 2 of the 3 being on the Switch, which would be nice. Makes it easier to play it. particular with Tokyo Mirage Sessions, I'm looking forward to having it on the Switch. And also, I mean, you can never argue with portable Xenoblade. I'm especially looking forward to seeing Xenoblade in high definition. There's new character models. There's additional content that was cut from the original game they're restoring. It's gonna look great. It's a beautiful game to start with, so I'm super excited for it. And Persona 5 Royal, like, if it was any other series, I would go like, you're re-releasing this already? But it's Atlas. Their updated Persona game versions are always good. I'm stoked. I'll play it again. And that's gonna suck up a lot of gaming time for me this year between those 3 games.
It really will. And you know what? For Persona, we also have to keep in mind that Persona came out in what, 2016? And it was early 2016, if I remember it right. Like, it really hasn't been that long since the game came out. It's just been advertised to hell and back.
But to contrast it, I'm the one who complains about remakes from a generation ago.
I guess, yeah, fair.
Yeah. So, like, normally, like, if it was any other franchise, I'd be going like, really, already? This is a money grab. But it might be a money grab, but they always do such a great job with tons of additional content. The game is always significantly different between versions. It's almost always better with each additional version they put out. So I'm looking forward to it.
And I mean, Persona 3 Fez wasn't released that long after like original recipe Persona 3 either. And from a from a lot of critical perspectives, it became the definitive version of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, Persona 4 Golden too is the
Again,
definitive
yeah.
version of that game, right? So I am not going to complain when they come to me with a new version of Persona 5. I'm going to say, yeah, yeah, they're going to make it worth it for me.
Odds are good.
Odds are pretty good at this point.
Especially if they
Yeah.
can give you like if you have a clear like especially if you like clear data from your original Persona 5, maybe they'll give you a bonus or something like that going into Royal. Who knows?
That'd be cool.
Especially since they're on the same console, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that it's still going to be really interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the changes into it too myself. So yeah. All right, Irene, why don't you shock us, surprise us, and tell us about the game that we're not going to think that you're ever going to have told us about for what you're looking forward to in 2020.
Cyberpunk 2077. And Neo 2, and The Last of Us 2. Oh, and I think there's one more. I can't really remember. Oh, yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
There
There
it
it
is.
is.
Right? For me, it seems to be a year for titles that were announced ages ago with varying degrees of hype. Though I will say that so far, all the publishers have done a good job at tempering that hype with a drip feed of information. Like, I haven't seen, like, massive tie-in ads and constant bombardment of information and advertisement for any of these titles. Mostly the information we get tends to be, like, factual and made to temper wild speculation. You know, keep people's expectations realistic with what's going to actually be released. Which is, the right way to do that. That isn't to say there haven't been, some missteps. I'm looking at you, Cyberpunk. I expect you to be better by the time you come out because CD Projekt Red has a lot of goodwill capital in its bank. So I'm hoping that perhaps it won't be quite as disappointing as people are expecting. But all these studios do have hot reputations for making quality experiences that are not microtransaction laden slogs. Like as I was saying earlier, make a game and sell a game type things. And honestly, I think that's going to be my 2020. I am all out of patience for live service games. So 2020 will be the year of ignoring them as much as possible. I might make an exception for a new Assassin's Creed if it comes out, but I don't think that's actually in the works for this year. I feel like we would have already heard about it because it's Ubisoft. And, Odyssey, when I played it, was still a quality experience I didn't feel it was a giant slog because I actually thought that they put in effort into a lot of their side quests, which I enjoyed doing. Still, I would take a classic Assassin's Creed experience any day of the week. Because, as much as I liked Odyssey, it's too fucking long. Jesus Christ, I get sick and tired of it before I even start scratching the surface. Ugh. Anyway, death to live services.
Yeah, I think we'd all agree to that.
I hope that this next decade will be the end of that trend. I am not positive that will be the case, but I can hope.
I think what's going to happen in that case is the developers are going to look at what Fallout 76 does for 2020 once they finally do their proper rehash, and what Anthem decides to do when they basically redesign the whole thing. So until then, I think companies are going to watch very carefully, see how that goes, and then decide from there. So I can still see it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
let's watch what Fallout 76 does. The industry's running joke. Let's not kid ourselves. That's what it is. Fallout 76 is a punchline with a premium subscription service.
that's true. $100 a year, $100 a year for laughs. I mean, it's almost worth it.
I don't know. Not in a world where classic Fallout still exists.
That's true.
And the Outer Worlds exists. Bethesda did a good job lighting itself on fire this year.
It sure did. And you know what? Honestly, we all have finite time to play video games. Why waste it on subpar experiences?
Exactly. I don't go to Bethesda for their, super smooth combat or their mechanics that feel really good to play. I go for the story, and they decided to take all that out? It was a strange decision. I don't know if it's made them any money, but it certainly damaged their reputation, I think, a lot more than what they could have initially reasonably have expected. Bethesda was a golden boy a couple of years ago. They could do no wrong. Now, they're a punchline with a premium subscription service.
Yeah. Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. All right. So those are the games that we're looking forward to that have a release date. Now there's a bunch of games that I'm looking forward to that don't have an official release date, at least not in the West yet. So I thought we'd go through what we're all looking for in those. Mine, I have two. They're probably going to be just as obvious as Irene's choice for Final Fantasy VII Remake. But mine are Trails of Cold Steel 4 and Yakuza 7, or Yakuza Like a Dragon, as they're calling it here. Cold Steel 4 is basically a priority for me. The last game ended on yet another cliffhanger, and I need to see this through. It's the last game in the Trails of Cold Steel storyline, apart from the recently announced Trails of the Beginning, which will have some side content, including Reen, which I'm also unbelievably looking forward to. So these better get Western releases. Falcom and NIS America really need to get their act together and tell me. The other one, Yakuza 7, I mean, it's going to be a completely fresh take on the combat formula. And I know a lot of the fans have very mixed feelings about it, turning it into a turn-based RPG. I'm all in on this. I think this is going to be hilarious. It's going to have that level of ridiculousness that Yakuza is really good at mixing in with its serious storyline. So I am all for it. The summons for the game that are going to be in it, or the quote unquote summons, they've now announced they are going to include Majima, Saejima, and Kiryu. I'm all in. You got me.
You can do a lot more with a turn-based combat system from a stylistic perspective. Their animations of ridiculousness where Kiryu breaks a fucking transformer over a guy's head. You're no longer bound by situational awareness. He can just have a transformer.
Yeah. Admittedly, what I would like for the combat system, I haven't looked into it too much, to be honest, because I want to be surprised by everything. But I'd love to have a system that's very combo heavy, kind of like Legend of Dragoon was.
Oh yeah,
where
really like that.
Well, yeah, where it's like got some sort of a QTE style, like very minimal, just so you can enjoy what you're doing as you're play. You can watch what you're playing, which would be great. But I think that would make the combat that much more enjoyable, and I would make it at least feel a little bit actiony, so it would feel a little bit more true to a Yakuza game in
And
what it
then
is.
and then you can have the big payoff at the end where it's like, yeah, I did my combo. Kiryu pulls a sledgehammer out of his suit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, totally all for it. And so yeah, like those are my two big ones. I really need a release date. They are saying later this year for Yakuza, but Trails, I've heard nothing yet. Now, Miss America is supposed to be making some secret announcement about something at one of the PAX conventions in January, so I've got my fingers crossed. But in the meantime, let's while my fingers are crossed and I try to uncross them, Sky, what are you looking for that doesn't have a release yet?
Well, three games I've been looking forward to for a while and still haven't heard any very much about. So, Shin Megami Tensei 5, which we have heard nothing about.
I know.
It's heartbreaking, and all they've done is confirm it's still in development. I really need an announcement this year. Please, please, please.
At the very
Um,
least, another trailer.
Something. Anything. Um, they are playing their cards really close to their chest on that one. And there's also Get in the Car Loser, which I'm hoping Christine Love will be able to get out this year. I mentioned it last year in our games we were looking forward to in the Game of the Year episode. And it hasn't come out yet. She's still working on it, and I'm super excited. But it is her first RPG, so gotta wait for the goodness. The other one is Digimon Survive, which haven't heard anything about recently.
There's been some news. They've introduced some more characters. The opening animation has come out. There's been a little bit released so far, so we at least know that's it's still got a 2020 plan. Whether or not that's a Western release, I'm not sure, but we have seen more for it than we have for any of the other titles at the very least.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's those three that I'm really holding out hope for this year because I'm really excited about all of them.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned well, Megaten 5 and Digimon absolutely are totally up my alley, and I want to see them out soon. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, you definitely. Irene, what are you looking forward to?
Me, there's a few things on my list. So there's Ghost of Tsushima, Elden Ring, and Tales of Arise. So I'm going to focus more on the last one since, I'm more invested in the Tales series than probably all those others. It's been years since Berseria, and I'm actually really, really ready for a new Tales game. Please. For please. Like, I won't complain about I don't complain about the remaster of Vesperia. It actually gave me a chance to play it. But I loved Zestiria and Berseria, especially the latter of the two, with its bittersweet story. And I'm really ready for an all new Tales because, like, I've yet to be disappointed by any of those games. They're they're a constant positive in my gaming experience. As for Ghost of Tsushima, like, there's been very little said about it, and I'm kind of interested to see what it's all about. Like, I guess I really like the whole samurai vibe thing because I love Neo, and I was really interested in Sekiro before I found out that I was a scrub and couldn't play it. And actually, Elden Ring because you know FromSoft actually has really cool stories in their games, except they're not in their games. So I would really like to see their attempt at putting the story in their game, which they sort of got to with Sekiro, but not entirely. I would much prefer like a traditional Souls-like experience where there's a bit more flexibility. My issue with Sekiro was that it was very prescriptive in how it wanted me to play it. And if I couldn't do the thing, well, I couldn't progress. I
Yeah,
yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Elden Ring is the FromSoft game that they've got. It was what George R. R. Martin writing for?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it's an ambitious story. It's an ambitious take from a story perspective. They've got significant clout working on that story, so it's going to be a lot of focus on it. I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Or you'll have to buy a whole new book series by Martin.
Dude, Martin, if you listen to this podcast, finish your fucking books.
Yep.
Oh, that was fun. I like egging people on. This is great. All right. So yeah, so that's everything that we're looking forward to. So last order of business, nice and quick. What are some of the older games that we want to clear out of our backlog this year? I've got two. First one is The Outer Worlds. It's a sandbox game, so I'm going to take my time with it because I'm going to play it on the side as other stuff comes out. I also want to get through Spider-Man, again, another sandbox game, but I will only be playing that when I am streaming Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Don't forget. I'll remind you at the end of the episode. Don't worry. But that's I think I've just found the game that I will play regularly on my Wednesdays. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And actually, last but not least, I should say that I want to finish Xenosaga 3. I'm so close to the end. I've got like 2 or 3 more dungeons before the game's done, so I should really just plow through that at some point.
Yeah, especially considering that you just plowed through the first two and through a good chunk of the third all in one go, pretty much.
Yeah, and then Christmas happened, and then I gotta just get through to finish it. It's just I'm getting that sense that once it's over, it's over, and I'm having difficulty pushing myself to see through the end because I also know what's going to happen at the end of this one, and I don't want it to happen. So
Join the dark side. We have cookies.
No.
Like this listeners, this is actually like my entire problem with finishing games is that once it's over, and I am not ready for it.
yeah, it doesn't happen to me very often, but this time being my second playthrough of the series, it's I'm starting to feel it. I admit. But while I wallow in that, Sky, what backlog have you got at this point?
Well, more than I'd like, to be honest. I have not finished Greedfall. That got completely derailed when Atelier Ryza came out, and I just have not gotten back to it. I'm also want to get through Shenmue 2 and 3 this year. I've already started Shenmue 2, but before Christmas I have to do more of that. And then play 3 because we've already picked that up. And the other thing I want to do, actually, Irene reminded me of it, is play my first Tales game,
Oh, which one?
Vesperia. I found a copy of the game for PS4 for like $16.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, crazy good price. I was originally going to get it on Switch, but I when I saw it for so cheap on PS4, I said, the hell with it. For that price, I'll play it on PS4.
Yeah, I've got it on my Switch actually because I get a lot of stuff on Switch these days. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, and so do I for certain things, um, but yeah, I wasn't going to turn it down for $16.
No,
Um,
it's I've heard it's critically acclaimed. Like that's one of the fan favorites for sure of the series. So
yeah. Well,
it,
the reason I like I've sort of had this pestering um, interest in Vesperia is because I played a good chunk of Project Cross Zone, the first one, and Estelle and Yuri were in that. Is that her name,
ah,
Estelle?
I think so.
I think so. And I enjoyed them. The few story scenes they were in, I was just like, huh, they seem like cool characters. So it sort of got this interest in, when I can, I would like to try out Vesperia. So
Yeah, it's a good place to start. I would also recommend Zisteria and Berseria just because they're very different from your, standard Tales game a little bit, just like in the way the combat system is sort of set up. In that they've got like the seraphs that are paired to like the human characters, and that you can swap out the seraphs when they die and they can resurrect themselves after a certain amount of time. Like it allows you to do some kind of cool stuff and also like pay attention to elemental magic and things of that nature. But at the same time, like the stories are very interesting. Like one is a very like sort of like messianic journey style story, while the other one is like the rise of the most horrible, most hated creature on the face of the planet.
charming.
Yeah, because like basically with Berseria, you go back and you play as the first bad guy from Systeria.
Right.
It's a very interesting story.
Alrighty.
Yep. All right. That's all right. I think it's good enough for our inaugural 2020 episode.
See,
Irene, do you have?
they don't ask me if I'm going
Sorry.
to clear anything out of my backlog because they know the answer is no.
I mean, partially, but yes. Do you have anything you actually want to finish?
I mean, I'm probably going to go back and play The Witcher 3 and want to get through the Outer Worlds. It really depends on how I'm feeling. Like, I tend to play games to live in them for a while rather than to make it to the end. So, like, my backlog just gets big. But I don't find it to be an unsatisfactory way to do it because, like, I'm having fun on the ride.
No, fair enough. All right. Well, that then will make it for the inaugural episode of 2020. I want to know what you guys think of the games we're looking forward to, and if you guys have games you want to suggest to us to check out for 2020, love to hear about them. You can message me on Twitter at billionairesxp. You can also find me on Instagram at Rafe Thegrum. And like I was saying earlier, you can check out my streams Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on Twitch under Rafe Thegrum. I'll be starting up again next week, so definitely check that out. Irene, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at irogue_xp on Twitter and Twitch. I normally stream on Thursdays, and I should be starting up again on the 9th.
All right, and Sky, where can everyone find you?
I'm at SkyKnightXP on Twitter and Twitch. I'm skyknight.xp on Instagram, and I stream on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, like I said, on Twitch.
Awesome. And don't forget to check out our website for transcripts, written articles, and coming soon, you will be able to see quick fire reviews. Basically, with those, what we're going to do is instead of giving you an entire paragraph of what we think of the game, we're going to give you the too long, don't read version that just suggests pros and cons and an average score out of 5. It's going to include everything we can come up with that we've played, old, new, doesn't matter. So definitely check those out. The website is xpbillionaires.wordpress.com.
Watch my Twitter for the release of the quickfire reviews. As of recording, we don't have them up yet, but it will be announced on my Twitter when they are, simply because I'm the webmaster.
Definitely. We'll make sure you will watch for those. And don't forget to check out the January newsletter when it comes out. That'll be on our Ko-fi page, coffee.com/xpbillionaires. You'll be able to see it posted up on Twitter once it is available. So that's it for us for this week. And from the last decade to this one, the message is still the same. Keep gaming, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.